Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and I'm here today to add yet another chapter into my Battlefield 1 Player's Guide. Today I'm going to help you become, that's right, you right there, become a kick-ass squad leader. Help you better understand how to issue attack and defend orders to lead your squad, and in turn, your team to victory. Now, we could hit this from a million different angles. Honestly, I have a lot of personal thought processes myself, and I could go on for days about tactics and strategies based on this situation and that situation. You could honestly write a book, a legitimate tactical guide for what to do in any given situation, or what to consider in any given situation. That would be kind of cool, but we're not going to do that. What I've done today is I've handpicked what I consider to be 2 key strategies for success in Conquest, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So we've got spawn flag defense and capture, and we've got center flag control. These are 2 very valuable strategies and tactics that you're going to want to be aware of from start to finish in a match of Conquest. Now, let me make it very clear. All the footage you're going to see and almost all of my experiences in Battlefield 1 exist in a solo or 2-player setting. So when I play on Xbox One, it's my brother and I. That's it. We hop into a squad, I create a new squad, I go in as squad leader, we get a bunch of randoms with us, and we get some awesome people willing to follow us around the battlefield, willing to essentially help lead our team to victory by following and completing attack and defend orders. There's a weird psychological element, and of course the small rewards incentive for additional XP to actually follow squad leader commands. People do it. In a public setting, people do it like 90% of the time. So if you're willing to be a great squad leader, you can pretty much ensure that your Battlefield 1 multiplayer experience is awesome 90% of the time. That's really a big incentive to watch this video and become a better squad leader. So let us begin. Let's start with what I call spawn flag defense or capture. Now, we're in a match of Conquest on Argonne Forest, one of my favorite maps. There's some wonderful, juicy little flanks and just craziness that can go on here when it comes to flag capture. So you'll notice that the team currently controls D and E. Now, we are recapturing E to some extent, but nonetheless, the enemy team has control over what I would consider our 2 spawn flags. Some maps have 1 spawn flag, some maps have 2 spawn flags. It really depends on the size of the map and, of course, the positioning of the flags. In the case of Argonne Forest, it's a pretty short trip from spawn to E to D. So that's why I call D and E in this instance spawn flags. Now, the enemy team has A and B for their spawn flags. Here's the basic strategy here. You never want to allow the enemy team to control either or both of your spawn flags. It's as simple as that. As a squad leader, you should consciously consider what's going on with D and E in this specific map. Is my team holding those? Is my team recapturing those? If you look at the map, you can see that we do have some blues around E. So I recognize that E is being recaptured, and as we make our way back into the match, our team is going to go ahead and push and regain control over D. Here's the big thing about controlling and maintaining your personal spawn flags. The loss of these 2 points can lead to a very quick downward spiral. And in almost all of the instances that I've observed, big match losses like 1,000 points to 400 points occur when your team gives up your spawn flags. When your team pretty much says, hey, don't worry about it, we'll just go take theirs. Well, guess what? It's a lot more difficult to hold A and B on a map like this because their spawn's right there. So if you just keep giving that up rather than making an effort to capture D and E, you're giving the enemy team a free ride to victory lane. You don't want to do that. Hold D and E, hold your spawn flags or your spawn flag at all cost. These are valuable points. If another squad isn't regaining control of them, make it your squad that regains control of them. It's that clean cut. That is a simple strategy for a better chance at success. Let's move forward. Center flag control. Now, in the case of Argonne Forest, we have 1 central flag. Some maps like Empire's Edge actually have 2 that you should take control of, but in the instance of Argonne Forest, C is king here. It is a slightly more difficult point to capture because it is more open. There's a lot of chaos going on in there, and there are a lot of angles to be hit from, but that's why it's so valuable. If you control C, then you have free reign over how you move about the map. You can spawn there, or other squads can spawn there. And it makes it easy to make pushes on B. It makes it easy to recapture D. It makes it easy to control a larger portion of the map. Center flag control pretty much always leads to maximum potential map control, which is why, in my opinion, on a map like Argonne Forest, you never want to let the enemy team own C. There's one final piece that makes C really valuable. It is the only point that is directly connected to the train tracks where the behemoth is going to show up. So when that war train strolls in and your team actively owns C, they can be in an outstanding position to do early, heavy damage to the war train. In fact, that happened in this match, and my team was able to shred the war train and then get back to refocusing on capturing flags and eventually win the entire match. So there you have it, guys. I've kept it simple, really just 2 basic strategies that are going to help you become a better squad leader. If you understand this, you can expand your tactics beyond that. Now, I honestly applaud you to go on out, start a fresh squad, and take on the squad leader role. More often than not, the weak teams are the teams that have no real squad leaders. And if you join into a squad and you request an order via the Comoros and no one responds, no one issues an order, it's pretty often a good indication that you should leave that squad and find another squad, or maybe go out and start your own squad. There are actually a lot of people out there looking to have a squad leader that is willing to issue orders. So if you leave and you go into another squad and you start issuing orders, people are going to join you. You know, I see people leave squads all the time because people aren't issuing orders. It's a serious thing that people really genuinely take to heart. They consider it. They like the additional experience, and people like having direction, especially when you're on those really chaotic maps like Argonne Forest. If you guys have any other questions for me, any concerns, anything that you're struggling with when it comes to the squad leader role, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.